What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down this 5-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Pretty fun slate coming up, actually. So we already got some injury news from guys that are going to get a big bump up in usage. So excited to get into the breakdown, give you guys the picks to get you in the green and winning some money. As always, the goal on this channel. If you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you feel like I provide you with any value, some good picks, which I promise you I will, we're going to be digging in, giving you the statistics that you need to succeed. Please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my fan favorite segment, the lock of the night. The guy that I'm picking to lock in your lineups tonight on both websites. And lastly, a couple more things to go over. If you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I would highly recommend my NBA DFS premium package over here on Patreon. You get access to all of my tools, things like my premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, all of that fun stuff. And for the month of December, you can join the Discord package for only $1, giving back to you guys during the holiday season. It's typically $10. I'm going to knock that down to $1 all throughout the month of December. You can hop in there, ask me questions all throughout the day up until lock. And after lock for some late swap questions and all that stuff. And this video is brought to you by Parlay Play. If you're not familiar with the sponsor of this channel, it's a fantastic format. Last night, unfortunately, for the KJK DFS Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge, we weren't able to pick it. We went with a $25 pick to multiply our money by 3 with Kyle Lowry, Lonzo Ball. That game turned into a blowout. It looked really good early on. Both these guys had like 20 parlay points in the first half, and Lonzo Ball just absolutely let us down in the second half. So really unfortunate. I was feeling very confident about that pick. I ramped it up from $5 to $25. Unfortunately, we fell flat. The blowout hit. Lonzo only needed like 5 more parlay points. If he could have just, hit a 3, maybe got a steal, a block, got to the line, we would have been there. But that's all right, because today we're going to bounce back. Keep in mind, we're only 3-5, and we have multiplied our bankroll by 4. So that's not bad, guys. It's definitely possible to be profitable over here on Parlay Play. We're going to continue to go through this challenge. Use code KJK003 when you sign up today. Use the link down below in the description. I'm also going to be commenting and pinning the link. But for today's picks to bounce back, we're going to be going with Saddiq Bey over 21.5 parlay points, Kevin Durant over 41.5 parlay points. Love this pick. There is no Jeremiah Grant for the Pistons. There is no James Harden for the Brooklyn Nets. So both of these guys should get a big bump up in usage. I like the over for both of their lines. And if you head on over to Parlay Play today, lock in these 2 picks. Like I said, you're going to multiply your money by 3. This is going to be a $10 pick for the Parlay Play Challenge. So if we do hit this, obviously we're going to multiply our money by 3. We're going to get the $30 additional to our bankroll. We'll be up to $70. So hoping to hit that today. Love the pick with those 2 guys being out for both respective sides. I think that Bey and Kevin Durant are going to get a big bump up in usage. Sign up for Parlay Play today. You get an instant match deposit up to $50. They'll instantaneously match you, so you can put down whatever amount of money you want on these wagers. And also, you get 2 risk-free $5 entries as well. So check them out. And let's go ahead and get into the breakdown, guys. As always, we're going to go game by game here. First game on the slate is going to be indeed this Brooklyn-Detroit game. You already know 2 guys that I like because we just went over it. But Kevin Durant, no James Harden. It's a no-brainer here. He's going to get a big bump up in usage. Should have a very big ceiling now with the other guy that takes away a lot of his usage being out. And we're not too scared about this Detroit Pistons defense either. Looking at my premium content over here as far as the defensive half-court and putbacks tool for Detroit and how they fared on the season. They are 25th overall in the league in points per possession rank, 28th in the half-court points per play rank. So really just haven't been doing a very good job of slowing down opposing offenses. And let's be honest, Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the league, and now he gets an even bigger bump up in usage. He's going to be a big priority for me on this slate. I think that Cade Cunningham with Jeremiah Grant being out is going to get a big bump up in usage as well on the Detroit side of things. So he's certainly someone that I'll be taking a hard look to. And as far as anyone else, he suffered torn ligaments in his right thumb and he's out indefinitely. So they're going to have some guys that are going to fill in here. And I think it's going to be Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson, and Diallo, mainly the 3 candidates. So those 3 guys, go ahead and take advantage of them while you can, being underpriced across the industry. Diallo's only 3.6. He's grading out as a tremendous play for me in my model. I know that much on DraftKings specifically. I've got him graded out as the top play on the slate as far as upside at his price tag. So Diallo certainly making a lot of sense to me. Like I said, Trey Lyles is going to be another guy that should get a bump up in minutes, bump up in usage. He's also a very good fantasy point producer. He's very cheap across the industry. And Saddiq Bey, the other guy, obviously, that we talked about here, I think that he could get a big bump up as well. Killian Hayes, I think it's a little less likely that he gets too big of a bump just because he's more of a guard. These wings probably get, the biggest bump, the big man down low. Diallo's off the bench, so he should get all the usage when he comes in with the second unit. And yeah, those are the guys that I'd be looking to in this first game. Secondary options on Brooklyn outside of Kevin Durant, obviously LaMarcus Aldridge, it's all going to start with him. I certainly think that he could get a big bump up in usage. As far as anyone else I'd be looking to, James Johnson's only 3.8 as well over here on DraftKings, so he's certainly making some sense to me. But yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge, James Johnson, probably going to be my top 2 options as far as secondary options, and then DeAndre Bembry could see a bump up as well at 3.7. So those are kind of the guys you'd be locking in on that should get some more minutes with there being no James Harden in this one. And then, of course, there could be some other guards that, have bigger games on the Brooklyn side of things. It's just Cam Thomas, these other guys, a little bit more risky, but you could go here, certainly. They're cheap, and I wouldn't hate it. So if you want to go there, wouldn't mind it, but mainly sticking to, obviously, Kevin Durant's going to be the main candidate for the big bump up. Certainly do like him. And we'll be talking about FanDuel too, guys, as we wrap things up on the I go game by game on the DraftKings, but I'm not going to forget about you FanDuel guys. I try to say that at the beginning of my video, but I always wrap around back to FanDuel, so we will get to that as well. Dallas taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Luka Doncic is out in this one as far as the total in this game right now. This game comes with a 207.5 over-under with a 4-point spread in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. So not the fastest game whatsoever, but we do see some big bumps up in usage with there being no Luka Doncic. Kristaps Porzingis is going to be the first candidate, obviously. He is priced up a little bit more than some of these other guys, though, so he might not be a guy you're really wanting to prioritize in a very slow-paced game. Just because he has that big price tag that he has to actually, perform to match. However, there are some cheap guys in Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, obviously Jalen Brunson being the main candidate to get a big bump up. But I certainly do like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jalen Brunson quite a bit here. 5.5, 5.3, both priced in the mid 5K range. Both going to get a big bump up in usage. Both kind of no-brainer plays. So those guys you could certainly be looking to. As far as anyone else on Dallas, there's some other guys, Dorian Finney-Smith is the other guy you could be looking to that'll get a lot of minutes. He just typically doesn't perform at a very good permanent basis. He has had a big game. Last time Luka Doncic was out, I think he was the game he put up that 37 or 33 spot, and he was very low owned, so you had to have him to win some tournaments. So it's possible. He's just not as good of a producer, so he will be low owned for a good reason, if you ask me. He just doesn't produce at the highest rate, so that's probably going to be a no for me. Running it back on the other side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to be a tremendous play with a lot of usage, but once again, on a slow-paced game, he is priced up a little bit. So do we really want to go to him when we go down to guys like Josh Giddey, maybe a Darius Bazley that are starting to see more minutes, more usage, and have a more realistic chance of hitting their price tag in a slow game environment? That would be kind of what's going through my brain here and what I would recommend to you guys. And I know that we'll talk about some of those guys over on FanDuel being pretty cheap. I know Josh Giddey continues to be underpriced over there, so... New Orleans Pelicans taking on the San Antonio Spurs is going to be the next game on the slate as far as the total in this game. This game right now comes in with a 219.5 over-under with a 2.5-point spread in favor of the San Antonio Spurs. So a decently paced game here. It's expected to stay close. We know where the usage is going on both sides. On the San Antonio Spurs side of things, I'm really going to have interest in 3 or 4 guys. DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Jakob Poeltl being the first 3 that really stand out to me that I would be wanting to have some interest in my lineups. For sure, just because all the usage flows to them. We have some reasonably priced guys in Poeltl and Derek White. They continue to be priced, like I said, very reasonably across the industry for their respective roles. And DeJounte Murray is going to be your pay-up option if this game does indeed stay close and it's a pretty decently paced game. He could have a huge game here, so I certainly have no issues with the pay-up option to DeJounte Murray. On the New Orleans Pelicans side of things, they're getting a little bit more healthy, so it's a little scary. Like I said, Jakob Poeltl, Derek White in the mid-range here. They're continuing to see their price tags increase, though. We've seen them in the mid-6K range. It's been a lot easier to play them. Now they're creeping up towards the 7K range. Certainly still viable, but they really have to have a big game for you. And I think they could, but just keep in mind, you got to keep your eyes on these price tags. Josh Hart on the Pelicans continues to be way underpriced on both websites. He's 6K on DraftKings. He went up 1,000, but that still doesn't scare me off him. The guy's been consistently producing in the mid-30s in DraftKings points, so he just continues to be too cheap at 6K. He's someone that I would certainly be looking to. And then as far as anyone else on the New Orleans Pelicans side, obviously Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, the top 2 leading guys in usage that you could certainly be going to. It's just that they're priced up for their respective roles. So obviously they're going to have to get there, and I think that they're a little bit negatively correlated from a usage aspect, so I'd probably only be wanting to put one or the other in my fantasy lineups. And like I said, Josh Hart is by far going to be my favorite option on the New Orleans Pelicans side as far as an upside at his price tag, and I do have Jonas Valanciunas as my next favorite guy, topping Brandon Ingram. So just to give you an idea of my priority on this team, that's what I would be looking to. Minnesota taking on Portland. We did get confirmation CJ McCollum is out, dealing with a collapsed right lung, so hopefully he's able to have a speedy recovery and he comes back. That's always a shame to hear that. So hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. But with him being out, we will get a big bump up in usage to a lot of these guys on the Portland side of things. And Damian Lillard is questionable, so that's some big news. If Damian Lillard's in and he's a full go, obviously he's going to be a tremendous play with no CJ McCollum. If he's not limited, if he is out, that's going to open up a bunch of usage, a bunch of upside for guys like a Dennis Smith Jr., a Norman Powell, and an Anthony Simmons. Those three guys would become absolute smash plays. Going to take on a lot of responsibilities in a fast, up-tempo game. This game comes in with a 220.5 over-under with a 1.5 point spread in favor of Portland. So, yeah, certainly worth keeping your eyes on that news. If Damian Lillard's out, we could also be taking a harder look to, a Ben McLemore, a Larry Nance Jr. off the bench as well. Those guys are someone's going to have to step up on this Portland side of things if there is no Dame and no CJ McCollum. Nazir Little, playing 26 minutes last time out, putting up 29.5 DraftKings points. Larry Nance Jr., 23 minutes. He could certainly get there in that amount of playing time. Robert Covington continues to be priced very cheap. He's playing in 30 minutes a game plus. He hasn't been producing at the highest rate, but I mean, you play a guy for 3.5 that's going to play 30-plus minutes. I think that's pretty good option in a fast up-tempo game, so wouldn't mind it. Running it back on the Minnesota side, it does look like D'Angelo Russell is expected to return. He practiced on Saturday. I would expect for him to be back on this one, so that's going to give a big of a bump down to Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards as far as usage. These three guys will be kind of splitting the load. I definitely have a lot more interest in Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell than I do Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns continues to price way up, and with these two guys coming back and stealing his usage, I'm just not too sure that it's really going to be an ideal spot for him. Looking at the defensive half-court and putbacks tool on my Patreon content, I will say Portland has been pretty bad defensively. They're 28th overall in the league in points per possession rank. They are 21st in putbacks allowed as well. So maybe Karl-Anthony Towns can have a big game here, but I just think it's a little bit sketchy with these other two guys coming back and stealing usage from him, and he's priced up. Like, I'd much rather play both of these guys, D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards, than Karl-Anthony Towns in the same lineup because they're in the 8K range. They both can get there. I think Karl-Anthony Towns, you're either playing him and fading the other guys or just not playing him at all. So that would kind of be my approach there. Jared Vanderbilt at 5'6", continues to see his minutes ramped up, so maybe someone that I could mention real quick. And other than that, go ahead and move on to the last game. Orlando taking on the LA Lakers. LeBron James listed as questionable. Anthony Davis listed as questionable. LeBron is more so probable, so expect him to be in. As far as Anthony Davis, he is a true questionable. That is certainly some big news. This game's expected to blow out. It comes in with a 220 over-under with an 11-point spread in favor of the LA Lakers, so it's not even expected to stay close. If Anthony Davis is out, hopefully that'll help the case a bit for it to stay close. Orlando's been terrible all season long. They're dead last in the league in defense on my premium content, 30th overall, 27th in half-court points per play rank, 24th in offensive rebound percentage allowed up. Just not good, so the LA Lakers are in a tremendous matchup here. It's just a matter of whether the game stays close. If Anthony Davis is indeed out, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James immediately climb to the top of your priority list. If the game's able to stay close, they should have a huge ceiling. You're also going to be taking a look to a Malik Monk, a Carmelo Anthony on the LA Lakers side of things, and a Talen Horton-Tucker, because those guys should get a big bump up in usage as well, and possibly even a Dwight Howard. This Orlando front court is pretty big. I think we could see Dwight Howard get a ramp up in minutes here. A little bit of a revenge narrative against his former team. As dumb as that may sound, I do always consider that. I have a feeling Dwight Howard might want to put on a show against Orlando, so no issues with you factoring that in, honestly. And then on the Orlando side, if this game's going to stay close, it's pretty simple who it's going to go through. It's going to be the main core four here. It's going to be Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba, and Franz Wagner. So if you do need this game to stay close, I would recommend running it back with either one or multiple of these guys. Because if you're playing guys on the Lakers side, obviously someone's going to have to do something on the Orlando side to keep it close. So naturally, I do think it would be some positive correlation in your lineups to be doing so. And that would be my recommendation there. So popping on over to FanDuel before I give you guys my lock of the night. As I promised, I'm going to give you guys, some pricing discrepancies. Talk about FanDuel. We talk about a lot of guys that we like overall, but pricing does matter on both websites, and it can vary. Josh Giddey, Saddiq Bey, both standing out as great plays for me right off the bat over here. We talked about both of them on DraftKings. Josh Giddey is only 5.5 over here on FanDuel. As far as Saddiq Bey, he's also priced in a very friendly price tag at only 4.8. So both of those guys are making a lot of sense to me on an upside at their price tag. Jalen Brunson is an obvious play with there being no Luka Doncic, and he's very cheap over here on FanDuel as well. So Jalen Brunson, certainly going to have quite a bit of interest in him tonight. In my FanDuel lineups, Jonas Valanciunas continues to be priced very cheap over here on FanDuel. He's only 7.7, so I like him. Josh Hart, we talked about him. He's only 5.8 over here on FanDuel. I talked about him being priced reasonably on both websites. Another guy that's just way too cheap over here that you could be putting in your lineups to give you the value, to get to pay up some of these pay-up options. You know, maybe a Russell Westbrook, maybe a Kevin Durant we talked about. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is 5.5 with the big bump up with there being no Luka Doncic, so he's another guy here. And yeah, my top pay-up option would be Kevin Durant with there being no James Harden. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of some guys I'm looking to on FanDuel tonight. There you go. Feeling pretty good about the FanDuel build. I think it should be relatively easy to be able to fit in the guys you like. And a quick reminder to go on over to Parlay Play, guys. Use that link below in the description. Lock in my picks tonight for this Parlay Play Big Bull Challenge. Sadiq Bey over, Kevin Durant over. Feeling real good about that. We're going to bounce back tonight. And use that code KJK003 or just simply click on the link below in the description or in the comments, and it'll automatically put that code in there for you. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and give you guys my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Jalen Brunson taking on this Oklahoma City squad with no Luka Doncic. This is a big, don't overthink it spot. Underpriced across the industry. Only 5.3 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, they're going to price at 5.8. Producing at a very high rate here. 0.94 FanDuel points per minute on the season. 0.97 DK points per minute on the season. And projected to play in the mid-30s for minutes. Should be able to surpass this price tag very easily. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Jalen Brunson, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a second to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. You can head on over to the KJK DFS premium packages. That's linked below in the description, and sign up for the NBA package if you are getting serious about NBA DFS. Would highly recommend it. I think you're going to get your return on investment very quickly. And I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. We will see you in the next one.